Hello everyone and welcome back to Wheeling to Dream. Today's episode will be centered around Disney and our recent stay there over the past week. Yay!
And if you don't know who we are, I'm Heather and this is Nate. We are the faces behind Wheeling to Dream. We're half of it at least. There's two more somewhere else right now. Napping probably. So Disney World, yay. We're so excited. I know that didn't sound like an excited yay, but we spent 4 whole days there. We walked over 40 miles. We were there in the parks all day for all 4 days. It was fun. It was exhausting, but overall I think we had a pretty good experience.
I don't know if I'd want to do it again, but it was a lot of fun regardless.
Well, I mean, he says maybe we don't want to do it again because we're from tourist town, so we've done all the touristy things at theme parks. It's fun. I think we would probably go back to a park or 2 maybe, but not a 4-day pass. We definitely won't go for the full days again. We stayed in Fort Wilderness. There's a lot of stuff to do there that we didn't even have the opportunity to do. So maybe we can check that out if we do go back and we stay there. So where should we start?
Well, like she said, we were there for 4 days, so we might as well just kind of go in a step-by-step process. Day 1 for us was Hollywood Studios, which I'll tell you up front, Hollywood Studios is designed more for older kids and adults. It's not really the best for the young kids. Both our kids are both pretty young, so there's a lot of shows to see there, and some of them are pretty cool shows. We saw probably half a dozen shows.
Almost all of them.
Probably somewhere 6, 7, 8 shows there. There were some pretty cool ones, and some of them weren't as great. There was only a few rides that we went on over the course of that day. We left that park at what time? Probably 6:30, 7 o'clock. So, and we got there at open, and that was pretty much typical each day that we were there. So, plan to be there all day long. So, have everything you need to make your stay more comfortable.
I did see families taking food and drinks into the park. I don't think they'll let you take big coolers, but like the backpack coolers, you can probably take those if you wanted to take snacks or even lunch. We had lunch in the parks every day as well as a snack in the afternoons, so we didn't have to carry anything extra. We had our Camelback and a small backpack with just like sunscreen and an extra change of clothes for the toddler.
Plenty of sunscreen, especially if you're fair-skinned like I am. Make sure you have plenty of water, which the park does supply water, obviously, but at stores, the restaurants, they have water there too that they'll give you free of charge. But we took like a Camelback around all day, just so we weren't always looking for water. We always had it with us. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The biggest thing with Disney especially is the crowds. Be ready to do a lot of waiting. You're going to be waiting at the bus stops to get to the park, or you're going to be waiting to park if you're driving your car out there. You're going to be waiting at the front to get into the park. You're going to be waiting for security. You're going to be waiting to get through. And then after you get through, you're going to be waiting in crowds to move around from place to place. And then when you get to where you're going, you're going to be waiting again in more crowds in the lines for a ride or a show. And then you're going to be waiting to get out of there. So all I'm saying is be patient and be ready to be standing around and waiting on other people a lot. So I think most people going to Disney kind of have that expectation, but it's like a whole new level of waiting. It's not like a standard theme park, so just keep that in mind.
Definitely wear shoes that you are going to be supported by. Don't let the kids wear flip-flops, and you know, wear something comfortable because of all the waiting and the standing and the walking. We put in our step goals of right around 10,000 steps per day by lunch every single day. So he's not kidding around when he says there's lots of walking. And the great thing about at least Magic Kingdom was there were play areas for some of the rides, so while you waited the kids got to play in like a play area of some sort or like an indoor jungle gym. So that kind of alleviated some of the whining as far as, you know, from the kids at least, not so much from me for waiting in lines. So that was really nice of Disney, of Magic Kingdom at least. They think of darn near everything.
So she mentions Magic Kingdom. That was day 2 for us, and in my opinion that was probably the best part of the stay at Disney. That's like your classic Disney experience. That's where you're going to get to see all the best characters, you're going to get to see the best rides, that's where the castle is, that's where the like the core of Disney lies in that park. So we spent that literally the entire day, our second day in that park. From I think we got there at 9 and we left at like 10, so
yeah.
over 12 hours we were in that park, and we put in
Really
a lot of miles in that day. But it was the coolest experience. We got to ride all the best rides, and I don't think we've mentioned fast passes yet. If you can help it, purchase fast passes because they will help out with getting to the front of the longest lines. Because I know I've already talked about waiting a lot, but some of the lines out there on the on the more popular rides are going to be a wait time from an hour to 3, even 4 hours. Some of them.
It's intense.
So you're going to want to definitely have fast passes for those to cut down on that waiting time, and book those fast passes as soon as you can in advance to going to the
I
park.
think they're 30 to 60 days in advance depending on what you purchase.
You can book them out further than that. I booked all of ours at about 60 days in advance, and there was one particular ride that I couldn't book because it was so popular. So you want at least 2 months in advance to be booking those fast passes if you get them. Over the years, I've been to the Disneyland, I've been to Worlds of Fun, I've been to Six Flags, and it's nothing like any of those parks. It's a unique experience. It's definitely got its own flavor going for it. What'd you think about
Magic Kingdom was definitely my favorite. You hear all of these things about it being magical, and it's just like a different experience. And just, if you are 35 or younger as a parent right now, you probably grew up with the Disney princesses and the Disney movies coming out as you grew up. So you got to go see them in theaters, and it's like your whole childhood comes alive, even as a parent. So we got 4 days to act like kids again and meet Disney princesses, which was so much fun for our girls. And even waiting in those lines to meet the princesses was worth it in the end. So I really loved Magic Kingdom. I loved Main Street. You just feel like you're transported into a different universe, really. So it was by far my favorite out of all 4.
our third day, we actually spent a little bit more time in Magic Kingdom that morning because there was so much stuff to do there. It was, even being there for over 12 hours, we still couldn't fit it all in our agenda. So we crammed a little bit into the next morning, and then we left around lunchtime that third day, and we went to Epcot. Now Epcot is also more of a adult themed park. There's not many rides there. There's a few, but they have height restrictions and you can't take little ones on them. So unless you have, you know, grade school kids or older, you're not going to be able to do much there with them. However, on the adult side that I already mentioned, there's a lot of stuff to do. They have the whole park broke down into sections, like different countries, and it took us several hours just to walk around the entire park and see all these countries. There's probably anywhere from a dozen to 20 different countries.
It's insane.
So, and each little area is pretty big in itself, and it's got multiple restaurants to go to. There's bars in some of them. There's stages in some of them for, they bring in live music bands and stuff. It's really neat. There's museums. There was a ton of stuff to do, and we only allotted ourselves about 8 hours of time to be there, and it wasn't nearly enough to see the whole park in its entirety. So you definitely, it's another park that you want to kind of spend all day in if you're into the whole culture thing and seeing you know, seeing from a different perspective other than what we just see.
And the great part about Epcot is you actually cannot work in the areas in the countries unless you're from that country. So they actually bring people from those countries to the United States, and they work in those countries. So in the restaurants, in the gift shops, all these places. And we were talking to one of them at a restaurant that we ate at, and they take really good care of their employees. So it's really nice to be able to mingle and talk with people from other countries that you may not ever go to. So that was really neat. We ate at a restaurant in Norway, I think it was Norway, and that was really neat to hear his perspective on the United States and what Disney is doing as a whole. So it's definitely a different experience.
fourth and final day there was Animal Kingdom. It was fun. It wasn't as good as Magic Kingdom or even as Epcot, but it was a different experience. I mean, if zoos are your thing, then that's where you're going to want to be. They have quite a few different kinds of animals there. The most memorable thing that I can remember that for me being there was the safari ride. They basically take you out on these giant like bus truck things, and they drive you around in the like an animal enclosure where the animals can walk right up to the vehicle you're in. So that was pretty neat. We got to see all sorts of different animals, which I'm gonna show you in this video.
So
what was your
Animal
favorite?
Kingdom, it's different. So we've been to Busch Gardens before, and I was actually pregnant when we went to Busch Gardens, so I couldn't ride any of the rides. So we got a whole lot of zoo in during that time, and that's kind of the thing I was expecting at Animal Kingdom, but it was not that pretty much at all. So they do have animals there, and they have a lot of animals that are really neat or even unique that you may have never seen before, like one of the cousins of the giraffe they have there. I've never even heard of this animal or seen it before, and they have a number of them there. So the animals that they choose to put in Animal Kingdom are there because they are trying to rehabilitate their populations. Maybe they had diseases or something like that, and they're trying to bring that population back. So they're doing a lot of work with countries all around the world. They give millions and millions of dollars to countries all around the world, trying to help with the animal populations and bring them back from extinction, basically. So they're really strategic about their animals. We got to witness a 9-day-old baby gorilla, and it was the most precious little baby thing I've ever seen in the animal world. It was so tiny, and its little tiny ears look like little human ears. It's a beautiful little baby, 9 days old. So they have like the gorilla enclosure all separated, where there's like a whole side for males, and then they have a family unit. It was really neat to witness and to walk through. And they had tigers. I have never been to a place where tigers actually are up and walking around. So like he said, if animals are your thing, you should definitely check out Animal Kingdom. We did enjoy it. It probably wasn't my most favorite park, and when we left, we got completely soaked.
It's an absolute downpour, and it was literally when we just had finished up our last event that we went to, and then we were on our way out of the park. So that was quite an ending to the whole Disney experience.
So, some expectations versus reality. You might hear that it's probably going to rain at Disney. They do not give rain checks. Take a poncho, buy an umbrella. We paid $15 for an umbrella inside the park that you could get for $7 at Walmart. It was teeny tiny little thing. So buy an umbrella, take some ponchos, get stroller covers if you need to, wear good shoes, take a refillable water bottle of some sort like this that you can refill, and sunscreen.
Yeah.
Be prepared just to wait and have lots of snacks or something like that on hand if your child is impatient.
So I don't remember if you mentioned it or not, but we stayed in Fort Wilderness, and I think one of the biggest things that we were expecting that didn't turn out was the transportation there. So we wanted to avoid driving into the parks, so we were just going to take the public transport everywhere. There's not really any sort of guidance on where to go or what to ride to what park or anything. So for us, we just kind of wandered around until we figured out where we needed to be and what bus we needed to be on, and so on and so forth. So just kind of prepare yourself a little bit better than we did.
Yeah.
Whenever it comes to, if you're going to use the public transportation when you get there. There's buses that bus into the parks, there's monorails, there's boats, and they all are on different schedules and they all go to different places. So just plan that out a little bit better than we did in preparation to going there. That would be my biggest piece of advice. And once again, just to really, foot stomp it in, be prepared for the crowds. I can't say it enough. Like the night that we saw the castle light up and come to life under the fireworks show, there had to have been 50,000 people out there in front of that castle. And it's like when you're trying to wade your way through a crowd of people at a concert. It's the same thing. So make sure you're keeping your little ones close, and just be prepared to have your personal space invaded. It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. One quick tip, if you are in Magic Kingdom and you're gonna watch the castle come to life, if you are in the park and you're looking directly at the castle, if you go left over the bridge towards Adventureland, it's over near the pirates and stuff. There's a bridge there that you can stand on and watch the castle come to life, and you don't have to be over in that crowded mess, which is what we figured that out pretty quick. And it was an amazing show. There were only maybe 15 or 20 people around us, and we actually got to enjoy it and not have people touching us or stepping on us or anything like that. So we had a fun time.
Yeah, it was a blast. It was just there were some things that we were expecting to be different, but we figured it out in the end. But overall, it was a really good time.
So I think that wraps it up for this video. Yep. We hope that you can take something away from our experience and what we learned while we were there and make yours even better. So stay tuned for next week. If you liked this video, please subscribe, hit the like button, maybe even leave us a comment. We're always looking for feedback. We appreciate your viewership, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.